Hey, I'm so excited to be here with Miss Liz, and I just literally cannot wait. For anybody watching on YouTube, you can see I have her book right here, Living in Tune. So excited. Literally, I've been reading this so much, and I can't wait. Tomorrow, you're actually coming in again. You're coming into the sisterhood, the Rise Sisterhood, to chat with us, and everybody already got their download of the first chapter that you sent out, which is so exciting. So I can't wait for that too. But I mean, I'm so excited to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here. Being in your energy, you are just sunshine. You're always such a light. And I know you're busy and you've got a whole life going on, but it never shows. Like, it never shows. You seem to
Oh,
hold so much space for other people all the time. You're amazing.
I love it. Well, same to you. I mean, this book is so powerful, which I know we'll get into in a little bit, but this is so exciting. I want to chat with you like a little bit about your story and everything. I know, you're talking about this here in the book, like of how, you were a very spiritual child and you grew up and you started getting into tarot and all of that. And then your story went somewhere else for a little bit. And then you kind of came back full circle back into this work. I want to chat with you if you would just kind of tell us like, how you got to like where you are now.
Yeah, it's been a long journey. The first thing I want to say is I was naturally drawn to spirituality when I was a child. And this was before the internet was in our homes, before social media, before Instagram. I was interested in astrology, crystal shops. I would do spells. And I say this at the beginning of the book. In year 6, which is the same as grade 6, I would do spells to make a boy in my class like me. It worked. We ended up being boyfriend and girlfriend for a year and a half. And
Gosh.
they worked. And I had no doubt in my ability to manifest. And I
Yeah.
didn't know the
Yeah.
word manifest back then, but I thought if I do these spells, it's going to happen. Like, I had so much belief. And I was always drawn to that type of thing. A friend introduced me to tarot when I was 14. For her, it was this passing phase. I stuck
Mm.
with it and I still read tarot all these years later. And I just never knew that it could be a career. I never saw anyone modeling what it would look like to have a spiritual career. And so I went through school, I went to university, went to JP Morgan on the grad scheme, which no one can ever believe when they meet me now. But I thought, okay, I'm going to make money. Grew up without money and it was awful. It was the reason my parents broke up. And so I was just so determined to make money. I just wanted to have money. I wanted to have security. That was my main focus. And I was so happy for the first 6 months. It was so hard to get onto it. And so when I
Mm.
did, I was thrilled. I bought a Louis Vuitton luggage bag. I bought some
Your
Louboutins,
Louboutins,
my
yes.
Louis Vuittons. And I thought, I friggin' made it. I've done it. And then I started to feel terrible. And I started to feel really, really bored.
Mm.
And like, is this all there is?
Yeah.
Literally wearing a grey suit to work and a grey blazer and a grey suit skirt. Just so boring to me. And I thought, this can't be it. This can't be it. And so then I ended up changing careers. I went into fashion. I did a master's, which was so amazing. I absolutely love my master's. That was in marketing and branding. And then that also allowed me this really nice incubation period to recover
Yeah.
from the time I'd spent in investment banking. Did that for a year. And then I went into fashion and I became a trainee merchandiser, then an assistant merchandiser working in women's wear. Got all the freebies, went on
Yeah.
press days, went shopping in London and got paid for it because it was called comp
Wow.
shopping. So where you're looking at what brands are doing basically. So that again, it felt like the dream for about 6 months. And again, exactly the same thing happened. I started to have this awful feeling in my stomach. And it was a very physical, visceral feeling. It wasn't just in my head. My body was
Mm.
really resisting it. And this time it was much worse because I was engaged. We had bought a 4-bedroom house with a
Oh
mortgage.
gosh.
And so this second time, it was much harder.
Yeah.
And I remember Ali, my husband, his parents, basically thought I was being flaky and they were like, you just kind of have to, just settle down, just get
Yeah.
into it.
Yep. Of course.
And I knew for me, I'm a very dedicated person, I'm a very
Yeah.
ambitious person, very driven. So I knew that wasn't it because I knew I could go 100% on something. But in
Yeah.
both of these careers, I was operating at 40 or 30. And my heart wasn't in it, my soul wasn't in it. And then there were many other steps in between that, but I ended up, first of all, deciding to be an entrepreneur. I read Tim Ferriss, The 4-Hour Work Week, decided I'm going to be an entrepreneur. How do
Yeah.
I do this then? And actually, my first business was a yoga gear business on Amazon. So I was getting
Oh,
yoga equipment made. I sold it on Amazon. And then I was doing blogs for that. So I'd write blogs on the website and I loved it. And they did so well. And I just kind of followed the way that I was being nudged by the universe, set up
yeah.
a separate Instagram account that was all inspirational quotes and writing. And that grew so much faster. And then that's the same account that I'm on now, except back then it didn't have my name, it didn't have my face, it was all quotes. This was in
Yeah.
2018. And I was just downloading all of these words and getting back into my spirituality. So I never lost it, but there was definitely a returning. And then I had my kind of big spiritual awakening. And yeah, and now here we are, 2025. I have been here for 6 years now. Book came out at the beginning of 2022. I got that deal in 2020. That was my
So
big
awesome.
manifestation, and have a wonderful business that I love.
I love it. Tell us a little bit more about like what you do now with your business.
So I work with soulful female business owners, helping them to monetize their soul gifts and create a big successful business that they love while still having balance with their life. Because I
Yeah.
don't think there's any point in having a business if you hate it. Like if you hate it, just have a job. So
Yes.
I'm very, very passionate about having a life that you love and a business that you love that feels like a dream, and it being completely in tune with who you are, your soul gifts, what you're meant to do, and making sure it's communicated in a way that your ideal clients understand and they know it's for them.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so good. I'm going through that right now personally, like the whole ideal client messaging and learning and just, and there can be so much to it, but I love what you're saying about bringing it back to like our intuition, our gifts, what feels aligned and good for us.
Mm-hmm.
Truly, like, because it can be so much.
Yeah, I think that's the only way it's sustainable.
Hmm.
Because I know for me, as we know from those careers, I can't do things if I don't like it.
Yeah.
If I don't like it, if I'm not into it, there's only so long I can keep up that facade. It's
Yeah.
just not going to be sustainable for the long term. And yeah, it's that feeling of, are you operating at 100% in a good way, not in an overstretched way, but is my heart fully in this? And when
Yeah.
it's fully in this, you want to do it. You look forward to doing it. You feel joy. It doesn't feel like work most of the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it will. There are going to be times where you're
Little
ill and
parts.
you still have to do a call. There's going to be
Yeah.
times when your to-do list is overwhelming, but the vast majority of time you love it and you're
Yeah.
in love with the overall mission and direction that your business is going in.
I want to talk about like this tapping into our intuition and really getting into that like flow state where we're able to hear. Because I feel like, and you mentioned this in the book, and this is something that I talk about a lot, is like the shoulds that are imposed by society, right? Or like we feel like we have to be a certain way or act a certain way. And I feel like that can really cloud us from hearing our own voice. And even as I've gone through that as a business owner, as just a human in general, like where there's been a lot of times where I can get really caught up. And I know we all do as women, get so caught up into hearing like what I should be doing, or we're hearing those external voices rather than coming into ourselves. It can be really hard. So I'd love to hear from you, like just your thoughts, of course, on that. And then also like how we can start to settle into really listening to ourselves.
Great question. So for me, the big indicator was my body, my
Mm.
physical feelings. And I actually had an anxiety disorder for 3 years and I didn't know. So I had terrible headaches, crippling headaches every single day. I had insomnia. I would wake up in the night sweating like a volcano. I had all these symptoms and I never put them together. I thought, I've got terrible headaches. Went to the doctor, say I've got these awful headaches. We did so many different tests. My
Yeah.
blood, I wore a heart monitor for a day, did all these tests to try and find out what it was, and everything was perfect. And the doctor said, have you ever thought that you might have an anxiety disorder? I'd never
Mhm.
even heard of it. I didn't know what it was. Generalized anxiety disorder. Didn't know what it was. And I thought, oh, okay. And it made me feel so physically ill. And I had all these physical symptoms. And I never expected that's what an anxiety disorder would be. And that was my body telling me, get out of here, get out of here,
Mhm.
run. And
Yeah.
actually, when I changed my career, which obviously didn't happen overnight, but all of that went away. And it was my body screaming at me saying, this is wrong for you. This is wrong for you. And it was actually after I did a 3-hour meditation to open my third eye, just on YouTube,
Wow.
free. If you look for binaural beats, third eye opening meditation, that was when the headaches went away. And it was because my third eye was going, use me, use me. I want to be open. I can see so much. I can tell you so much wisdom. And it was closed and blocked and I wasn't using it. And so I basically cleared the energy from there, and then that got rid of my headaches. And so I would say just look out for any of those physical symptoms, the sickness, that sick feeling, that drop and dread that I used to have in my stomach, any kind of niggling health things where the doctor said, you're fine, there's nothing physically wrong with you. All of these things are symptoms. Okay, there's something going on here. There's something out of alignment here. And your body is trying to tell you something. So that is definitely the first thing that I would say. The second thing that I would say is having enough time to connect with yourself and tune into yourself. And I know we were talking about this just before we hit record. And it's so challenging to find this time when people are parents, working, you've got a business on the side, you've got to look after the house, you've got a social life. Oh my goodness, it can feel impossible. And when I worked in fashion, I would work till 9 p.m., 9:30 p.m. and I didn't have much time then. And so what I started doing when I began this personal development journey was I would sit in my car, and I used to listen to Radio 1 in England. And I realized, okay, I don't have any time to myself. So what I did was I turned off the radio. And for that 45-minute drive, where I was pretty much just sat in traffic, I was at least in silence in the car. And so I was able to use that commute time to be with myself, to reflect, to think about what I wanted, to decide what I was going to do next, and to really tune in. People who have dogs, when you're walking the dog, like that is your time. Don't listen to music. Don't listen to a podcast, maybe a few days a week. Just tune into yourself, having a bath, in the shower, being more intentional about those moments instead of having that kind of surface mind chatter where it's like, what are we going to have for dinner? What are we going to do next? Da, da, da. Instead, just take those pockets of time, if you really are stretched, to tune in deeply to yourself and really connect with who you are and what you want. And if you've got more time than that, daily meditation is great. Daily journaling is great. All of those gorgeous practices that allow you to really connect with yourself, because that is where you figure out who you are, what you want, and where you are really meant to go next without all the external drama, noise, and influence.
I feel like that's why, like you were saying, you know, like that time even in the shower, and when you mentioned, I'm like, those shower downloads, like they're so good. But that's because it's like, that's when we're giving ourselves time to like be still, to let the mind be still. It's like literally every time I'm like shampooing my hair, it's like the most like monotonous like task, right? And just like mindlessly just like shampooing. And then it's just like these downloads just hit, I feel like, because for me personally, it's like I'm not thinking about anything. I'm not like, there's no external stimulation. Like it's just like those calm moments. And that's when I feel like so much starts to come through, because we're giving ourselves that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one is when you lie down to sleep. So this is when I do my visualization practice to manifest, because you're going to be lying down in bed every day at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so you've got those minutes before you go to sleep to connect with yourself, to visualize, to feel the feelings of what you want to have in your body, and create that energetic force field that ripples out to bring it into your reality. You've got those minutes where you're relaxing, you're winding down. So that's also a great time to connect with yourself as well.
It's back. You guys, I'm so excited. The Rise Summit is back. If you caught us last year or earlier this year, you already know this free summit is where it's at. I have over 40 speakers, 40 speakers, experts in health and wellness, relationships, just overall living your best life. They are coming to chat with us about all things happiness. I literally have women that know so much about all kinds of the aspects of our lives that can cause us to feel really miserable or really just basically not like ourselves. So this summit serves to help you come back into feeling like you again, to be you again, to really find your happiness and feel like yourself again. So come and join us for free December 11th through the 14th. All of the information is in my link in my bio or down below in the show notes, so you can come and join us once again, absolutely 100% free. Can you tell us like a little bit of, you know, maybe a little manifestation practice or like some visualization? Like how could we do something like that on our own, like before bed or something?
Okay, so I think the best thing to do is embodied visualization. So this is where you're not just seeing it in your third eye. That's great. Seeing it as vividly as you can possibly see it in your mind through your third eye. I always imagine the energy projecting out through my third eye and projecting it out into the physical world, really putting energy into it, but also moving it into your body and feeling the feelings. So you can do this when you're walking. I love to walk around a bougie neighborhood and feel excited. And like I've just walked outside of my house and now I'm just on the street outside my house. That kind of feeling when you're walking around and you're really embodying it. And in bed, I actually do it for my solar plexus, so the stomach area. And I generate this energy there. I really feel the feelings, feel the energy, feel the frequencies, and feel your power and really trust in your creation power. And again, send that out like you're radiating that feeling of having what it is that you want. And a side note on that, just be very careful that what you're trying to manifest isn't to validate yourself or to prove something. So if you think, I want to have loads and loads of money, and underneath that, it's, I want to have loads of money because then I'll feel confident. Then I'll feel like I'm the same as everyone else, or I have something valuable to offer, or whatever it may be. Those underlying intentions will either A, stop you from getting what you want because it's not actually aligned, or B, you will get it and you'll be very disappointed and you'll get there and realize, oh, this was never what I thought it was going to be. Because when I manifested that graduate scheme, oh my gosh, it was like, I think there were 5 places out of 2,500 applicants or something. So I majorly manifested it, tried so hard, such an achievement. But because the underlying intention was, I want to be stable, I want to feel safe, I want to be important, like all these things that were coming from fear and lack, it just meant that when I got it, it wasn't actually aligned. So just look out for that when you're manifesting and make sure that what you want is something that is truly going to bring you joy, satisfaction, and fulfillment. And so when you're aligned with that thing, you can tune into those feelings more easily because you're feeling, it's hard to feel money. But if you think, oh, I want to have money because then I can travel the world, I can be free, I can wake up and go to the beach, and you're feeling those feelings rather than just, I want this amount of money because of the money. Feel the feelings of what that life is going to give you.
Oh my gosh, I love this. How do you feel about like writing these things down or like doing that type of like a manifestation journal type of a thing?
Love it. So I do daily journaling religiously, and I actually use a diary, a page-a-day diary, to keep me accountable, so that there is a page for every single day, and so I don't miss it because I don't want a blank page in there. So I do that first thing every morning, even when I'm traveling, whatever I'm doing. And I have various practices in there. So I have a bunch of affirmations that I write out every day. I do, I am grateful, I am grateful. It also serves as a diary in that I get to remember all the things I'm doing. So I read through it at the end of the year. And I might give the universe a to-do. So I say universe to-do dash. And I'll often write it in a way that it's very non-attached and it's co-creative. So I'll say universe to-do, let's have an amazing day in LA. And it always happens. And then the next day I look back and go, oh yeah, that happened, because you completely forget that you even said that at the beginning. So universe to do, let's da 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 da. So it's like you're doing it together. It's very lighthearted, very unattached. Really works. I've had clients do this and it works as well. And then I finish with more affirmations and I read it out loud to myself so that I'm hearing it all back. I'm speaking it out into the universe. My brain is hearing it. And I do that every day. So I'm all for journaling. I will say I have tried it where, because I know there's a lot of practices where you write the same thing out. Like
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, there's like the 5 by 55 and all these different ones with numbers. I tried that and I think I lasted once and was like, this is boring. This is hard. It's not for me. Other people, it works. But for me, it's definitely about that sustainability. If it's not something I can stick with, I won't do it. I like things that I can continue to do because then I know there's not resistance there and I know it's in tune with me.
Man, that is such a good point. And again, like going back to following your own intuition and following, yourself and your vibe, like how you feel, is like doing the things that feel good for you, doing the things that light you up, like the manifestation practice. There's several ways you can do it. So like finding one that like feels more in tune and aligned for yourself, because that's what's sustainable. Yeah,
absolutely. What's your favorite one out of interest?
So honestly, that's why I'm kind of like asking, because I'm like, I want to kind of settle into one. I just visualizing, and I'm trying to kind of be better about it though, because every night I'm like getting these downloads at night and I'm seeing things. But the thing is, I'm not continuing. I just kind of like, okay, like I get busy or something like that. And so I want to make that more intentional time to have that practice, because I love that. It's always at night. At night, I get these beautiful like ideas and thoughts, and I can see things so clearly, but it's giving myself enough time to actually really follow through.
So, what I would say is focus on the feeling that you want to have. So, if you kind of choose an emotion that you want to feel overall, peace is a big one for me. It might be balance. It might be whatever it is you want to feel. And then I would kind of choose the emotion, because we only want all the things and all the stuff to give us that state and that feeling, because we think, oh, when I've got enough money, then I won't feel stressed and I can relax. And that's kind of the feeling that we want. So I think tuning into that feeling every night and going, right, I'm going to feel this sense of peace, like everything in my life is in tune and balance. And then that every night, and then the opportunities and the situations and everything will move around accordingly to make that your primary state.
I love that. So like you're getting that that feeling and all of that of the reason of where we're headed, like kind of like the end goal in a way. So it's not so much like, oh, I'm visualizing that I'm going to get this opportunity tomorrow, or so and so is going to text me back or whatever. It's more so like that ending, like, so that I can have this kind of success in my business to find the freedom or the peace, that kind of thing.
Exactly that. Exactly that.
I love it. It just like feels so good already, just like talking about it, right? It's just like such a good feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. And just coming home to our intuition, it's just, again, I already kind of mentioned this, but it's like that feeling where we're so lost and so kind of, to me, it almost feels like a trap, where it's like, okay, I should act a certain way or do something because of that external success. It's just like this constant whirlwind that I've been really trying to focus on, because so much of my life was stuck in that way, my career that I chose. And I love being a nurse, right? Like I love this career. However, part of me knows that like, oh, that was definitely just chosen because it was like this external factor of like, okay, this will bring you success, or this will bring you honor, I guess. And just so many things in our lives that we chase for that, because I think it's just such an issue in our culture right now, where we just don't give ourselves the time to slow down. And yeah, like you were saying, we were talking about that earlier. It's just always something, always something. So making that time, but really making that time. And that's something I have to work on, definitely right now. But I think we all do. It's just like making that time for ourselves to just check in.
Yeah. And it all starts with intention.
Yeah.
So setting the intention, I want to be more connected to myself. I want to live a life that is more in tune with me. And what happens then after you set the intention, situations start popping up. And they're not always pleasant ones. It might be, if I want to be more confident, okay, some situations are going to come up. You're going to get a meal that isn't right at the restaurant. What are you going to do about it? You're going to send it back. Things will come up where you have the chance to assert your boundaries and to assert your authority and ask for what you want. That often happens when you set an intention where you want to up level and upgrade. You'll get those opportunities, those options presented to you where you have the chance to go forward into your future and choose a different way than you've chosen before. Or are you going to sink back into your old patterns and stay the same? So I think intention is the most powerful force that we have at our disposal. Intention, and then the energy that we put behind it. And if that energy is from your heart, it's from your soul, it's pure, it's aligned, that is going to be the most powerful combo, your energy and your intention.
Just getting that clarity. Yeah. I know that you guys are just as excited about this upcoming portal as I am. So on November 11th, there is a portal coming up, the 11/11 portal, and it is all about new beginnings, new manifestations, all of these beautiful things, this beautiful energy. And I want to help you to be able to get some clarity around what you're manifesting, to be able to very clearly see it all and heighten that manifestation with a beautiful sound bath just for you. So if you head to my link in bio at Hello Audrey Rose, or just down below in the show notes, The link is there waiting for you so you can grab this free sound bath. Yeah, bringing that. And it's so interesting how you just said that, like, it could be like the meal at a restaurant or something like that. It's like paying more attention to what's happening, because I think that there's so many like little tests, right? Or like little things that pop up that it's easy to just say, oh, no, that's nothing. Oh, that's nothing. But every single opportunity that we have to become that next version of ourselves, that we have to like lean into that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paying attention. I want to hear like what you have coming up. How can we get in your world? Like, how can we learn more? I mean, we have your amazing book here, but I mean, how we can read this, and then how do we get into the next step with you to like implement all of this?
So that's the book, Living in Tune. I love it so much. It's funny, it's been out 3 years now. She just had her 3rd birthday on the 11th of Jan, and I still get the most amazing reviews and messages.
Yeah.
She is magical, in my
It's
opinion.
timeless. Yeah.
I call her a she because I created her, so it's like my baby. But it's a really wonderful book. And then I have, I'm on Instagram. I have a podcast, so they're free options. Instagram podcast. I also have 112 blogs on my website as well. And then from there, I have multiple offers and programs, which are always on my website. I always have some kind of free training, free masterclass available. And then I have a new mastermind coming up called Highly Paid Healer. I have a spiritual coach certification, which is also a spiritual transformation and healing program. I have the spiritual business mastermind, which is people who are setting up a business in their soul gifts. And actually this year I have a bunch of new programs coming. So I'm in LA for 2 months at the moment on my own. So my husband's in England working, and I'm in a big creation portal. So I have a whole bunch of new programs coming this year about enchanting messaging, the money work as a spiritual entrepreneur, about ideal client, and all these pieces just to really help people elevate this way and make money doing what they love, doing what they're meant to be doing with their soul gifts. That is my whole mission.
So we can dive in and like really dive in and be able to work a lot closer with you in these masterminds and all these programs and really get through. I feel like that's just so important. I feel like it's honestly, it's very important, especially as an entrepreneur, as anybody, just to like really lean into our gifts and lean into what lights us up, because it's not sustainable otherwise. Like you were saying, it's just not.
Yeah. I also started offering, just 2 months ago, I started offering Akashic Records readings. And the way they work for me is it's all about soul gifts. So when we're in the Akashic Records together, it's a one-on-one call, and then I can tell people what their gifts are, just on a soul level. And sometimes they're already using them, because with your soul gifts, they can come out in different ways. So for example, part of mine is being an activator. So people often feel activated when they're in my programs or reading my book. And so there's different ways that I can activate people. It could be through an audio. It could be by speaking on stage. It's not so much about the tool or the avenue. It's the way that your soul is here to serve. And so in those Akashic Records readings, I'm able to pick that up for people. But the book also has great guidance, and I think 86 questions in total or something like that. There's a whole ton of journaling prompts in there that will also help.
Yeah, I know. I'm like dog earing. Everything has like flags on all the pages. I'm like, okay, come back. I'm not the biggest journaler, but I'm like, okay, let me do a couple of things and then let me come back to some more. And yeah, but the Akashic Records reading would be so cool. I'm going to have to talk to you like off air about this. Like, I'm like, what? I've never had one done, and I've always been so interested. It excites me so much, like all these different things. I love it. It's so cool.
It's been really powerful for me. I had a big awakening around it a few months ago, and it was so powerful for me. And I just went up for myself, and it was like, your mastermind should be 6 months long. And and I got such clear info. I was like, I need to share this with people. I need to help people with this. So yeah, really powerful.
That is so awesome. Like truly, like I just don't have a better word. Like that's really awesome to be able to look in and get that clarity, because honestly, again, it comes back to the whole thing of living in alignment and living, listening to your intuition and just all of that coming into that alignment phase where then you're creating from that place of alignment. It just feels so good. I was coming back into my own alignment. I was out of alignment, just talking about random things, maybe about 6 months ago. And anyways, I'm finally like coming out of that phase where I was just like talking about the most random stuff. And I was just getting too bogged down and too narrowed down. And it caused a ton of anxiety, a ton of just mismatch. Clients were mismatched. I was getting messages from people who weren't ideal clients. Like it just wasn't flowing at all. And I didn't feel any peace. And so it's like coming back into a little alignment. But then when you can get a reading done and have like that full on, like just understanding and clarity of like where you're going, is so much better. And it's quicker, right? Because like as entrepreneurs, and I think as most women in general, it's like we want to take action and we want to go for it, but we like to have a little guidance and have a little bit of a game plan before we can just like full throttle, get after it. It's like you want to just kind of be in that alignment.
Yeah, it's being intentional. As I said, the intention is so important, and it's okay to sit in that spot for a while and
Yeah.
to really get clear on what that intention is. And if you're brave to being open, then do what I said earlier and focus. Okay, the intention is the ultimate feeling, and then allowing things to move into place, because that's when you'll get the signs crossing your path, the word that keeps getting mentioned to you that you just hear over and over. I moved somewhere. I was telling someone this story yesterday, my coach actually, because she was saying she might do a trip to England. And I said, oh, you have to go to Glastonbury. And I'd totally forgotten about it because it was years ago now. But I moved there because I read in a book Glastonbury, saw somewhere else Glastonbury. It kept crossing my path. And I'd never even, I knew there was a festival. I didn't know it was a place. And I just kept seeing it. And I was like, the universe wants me to go to Glastonbury. I went there, viewed an apartment, signed it on the first time I ever went there. And I just walked into the town, went, yep, okay then, and got an apartment. And it was such a magical era. And that can happen when you are open. So it's also about having trust with the universe when we're talking about manifesting and being in tune, because when you set the intention to get everything more aligned and to follow your intuition, it doesn't usually happen overnight. So there is this element of patience and trust that comes along with it as well.
I love that. And it's like, for me, I just like, I'm such an action taker, but it's like, then I can go and like take the action. Like you're saying, like, then you can sign for the apartment but it's like getting that clarity up to that point. And then we can like go for it. We can do the thing, but it's like, it's easier. Like you're saying, it's just easier to be able to go for it, sign that apartment, like take that action. But when it just feels really aligned, it's like you've done the work to get the clarity and the alignment. And then like that action just feels so good. Like it can happen. I don't know. I feel like for me, sometimes those things can happen quick, but it is when now that you say that, it's like I'm looking back into when it is the times that I've really been able to trust the universe, when I've really been super open. It's like literally you go to a bookstore and like the book falls off the shelf. I love sharing that story, but I'm like, oh my God, like it fell off the shelf and it was like about this, and inside it was like this healing tool, and I tried that, and then I went to this, new unfolds. It just completely like all starts to happen. But it comes from that place of just being so open, and it almost becomes really fun, like a little game or something. It's like, okay, what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
I love that feeling.
Absolutely. But there will be some little gaps in between. And that's where people lose the faith. That's when people think they're lost, and they're not.
Sure.
They're just moving from one point to the next. You're not lost.
Yeah.
It's just, that's what the transition is from one thing to the other. So that is the challenge, is to hold steady, trust, and follow the guidance when it comes.
Tell us your Instagram handle, and I will of course link it in the show notes, but so that we can get in and like find everything.
So it's at I am Liz Roberta. I am super engaged on there. I spend my life in the DMs. So if you want to reach out, feel free. All the links are in the bio. There is the free sample of Living in Tune there. You get the first 3 chapters. That's linked to my bio on my Instagram, as well as the podcast and everything else like that as well. So yeah, come find me.
If I could just ask you, like, as we wrap up, I love to ask this question of, if you could tell everybody listening, like, one self-care tip or one self-love tip, just something tangible that they can go do like tonight, what would it be?
I feel like I've already mentioned quite a few of them.
Yeah. And it can be totally something you've already mentioned, like, just like, what's her step like for today?
I'll offer another thing then that's part of my routine, which I actually have in front of me. So I'm traveling at the moment, and there's still a few key parts of my routine that I do. So I do my journaling, as I talked about earlier. I read a chapter of a book, and I also have a oracle deck. So this is a lovely lady. She's an independent creator in Australia. It's called Pass Around the Smile, because I always get asked about this deck. And I have a little card holder, and every single morning I pull an oracle card for myself, and then I store it here, and it sits on my desk all day. I've been using this deck since 2019 every day, so I've got a strong connection with this deck.
Wow.
Always comes true, always comes true, and it gives me a theme for the day ahead. And sometimes I'll get the heal card, and I think, what?
Yeah.
And then something will come up that day, boom, something has to be healed or whatever. And that just helps me to feel really connected with the universe, and like I'm getting the messages. It takes 2 seconds in the morning to shuffle to pull that card, but it gives me a guiding theme of the day, always comes true. And it's a bit of a communication line that I have between me and the soul, me and my soul, me and the universe. So that is a super quick, easy tip that just allows you to feel connected.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. And that card holder, it's so cute. I love that. I've never seen, I always see like the flat, regular ones, but that one's so fun.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and so much for all of your guidance. And I'll make sure, we link everything in the show notes so that everyone listening can quickly find your book and find you and just find everything. And I can't wait to have you in the sisterhood as well.
Yes, I'm so excited. Thank you so much for having me.